African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javanokelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for another amazing episode of the Daily African Proverbs. We are live on Clubhouse and we're also live on YouTube. And I'm here with my friend and our special guest, Philip Ogola, who is in Nairobi. Philip is a humanitarian. He is popularly known as a digital humanitarian in Kenya and also in the African diaspora. Philip was deeply involved with producing Africa Day. He was also, he's been in the front line during this pandemic and before the pandemic in Kenya. Even during terrorist attacks in Kenya, he's always one of the first people to arrive on the scene. And that's how Philip was given a presidential award a few years ago by the Kenyan president, so he's a celebrated Kenyan hero. So today it's really an honor. Many of you see him in the room, but you've never really learned enough about him the way I know him and the way I feel like we need to, honor him and just, give him credit while he's here with us, And so today is just a day of celebrating our brother on stage, but also first hearing his interpretation of today's proverb, and also we are going to learn a little more about him. We are going to learn about what inspires Philip and what story in his childhood continues making him who he is today. And also we'll learn a little bit about the work that he's doing with social audio. He is one of the people who are leading the current growth of Twitter Spaces, especially from a humanitarian perspective. So he started something called, Spaces for Good. I would love him to talk about that. And then, we are going to wrap up just by listening to some of your interpretations of today's proverb. So the proverb says, to get lost is to learn a new way. To get lost is to learn a new way. I want to thank you, Delise, for joining us on YouTube. And I also want to thank you all for being here with us on Clubhouse. I want to pass it to Philip so that Philip Ogola, my brother, can quickly share with us his interpretation of today's proverb before we go into a little depth about his story. Again, I would love to encourage everyone on Clubhouse to ping in 1 or 2 people to join us in the room for today's conversation. I want to give a big shout out to Kat, the Hungry Medium, who is here. And I also want to encourage you to join us on stage. I'll keep hand raising on until 6:30. That's on Clubhouse. On YouTube, I would love for you to, leave your comment so that we know what your thoughts are about the things that Philip shared with us, and also today's proverb. Again, the proverb says, to get lost is to learn a new way. Philip, share with us your interpretation.
Can you hear me clearly? I was speaking on mute.
Oh, yes, I hear you very well. I hear you very well.
So, good afternoon from Nairobi. For those who are watching on YouTube, Jambo, those who are listening in Clubhouse, thank you. So, Simon, today's proverb talks about my life. When you sent me the proverb earlier, I was scared because it's like you are talking to me. It's like Dad is listening. And when you came to me, I was like, Simon has gone to Namlolwe, the Lake Victoria. That's my roots. I've been lost all my life, Simon. I've been lost seeking validation, seeking to know who I am. And it has taken me going around the world to actually rediscover myself. I've got lost so many times in my career progression. I've got lost so many times in my childhood, in my education, and even in life. But I fell down. I got lost, but I've stood up. I've dusted myself now. I understand myself better. And when you look at the proverb, people think that getting lost is something. To me, getting lost is learning. And to me, the more you get lost is the more you learn from the experience. And in life, there are two things. Either you get lost or you actually learn from your experience. But if you don't learn from experience, you'll keep getting lost. So to me, I think that proverb is actually very powerful, where our ancestors are actually talking to us, where they're telling us that, hey, making a mistake should not put you down. If you're in school, if you flunk in the exam, doesn't mean that it's the end of life. You can work hard. You can actually build yourself. There's so many youths in Africa who actually feel lost. There's so many youths in Africa who feel they have no purpose, where they feel like, hey, I've done my college, I'm not going to school, I have no purpose in life. I feel lost. So most of them are, getting into substance abuse, falling into depression, and we've seen the number of suicidal cases spiking. So to the youths who are listening on Clubhouse right now, and those who are watching on YouTube, getting lost in life is actually it's a learning curve. So the proverb is really very powerful, where it shows us that we must learn from our mistakes, and we should never take our mistakes serious. As in, life is about puzzles. We have to find each puzzle every day until you complete that game. I think that's my interpretation of the proverb, Simon.
Wow, thank you so much. I love how you share that. Life is a puzzle, and every day, we have to continue trying to figure out what life is all about. And also, I love how you shared with us that getting lost is learning. Getting lost is an important part of learning, and we should embrace it. I want to welcome everyone who have joined us on Clubhouse. Thank you so much. Joseph, Dr. Wanda, Cornelia, Daryl, Roger, my friend Kat, Anne-Marie, Bigoa, Karen, nice to see you all, and Lauren, and Noah, and Nana, and Blue, and Lala, and Lillian, and B. Thank you so much for being here. I'm here with my brother Philip, digital humanitarian, who you can see next to me on Clubhouse. And he's also live with me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Simon Javan Okelo. Join me there. If you're already watching, I want you to share with us your comment. Today's proverb is, to get lost is to learn a new way. To get lost is to learn a new way. And Philip just shared with us his interpretation of this proverb. Now I want Philip to share with us a story from his childhood, a time when you were 8 to 12. This is one of my favorite questions to ask all my guests here in the African Father in America Club. By the way, African Father in America is also the name of my podcast, so you should check it out on all podcasting platforms. This conversation is going to be available there by the end of the day today. But Philip, I hear feedback from your end. But I just want to share my gratitude, to everyone who is here with us. And I want Philip to share with us, a childhood story, something that when you remember, it's what inspires who you are today. And a lot of the time, I share the story of me being a milk and bread distributor when I was just 8 years old. I had a bicycle. And I was distributing milk and bread in Manyata. You're familiar with the ghettos in Kenya. And so those are the years that, molded who I am today. The organizer that I am today came from interacting with shopkeepers, in the ghetto, and making them my customers, at a young age. So now in Seattle, I'm able to build networks and connections that continue helping me thrive as an entrepreneur, as a podcaster, as the founder of One Vibe Africa, and all these other things that I do. It's really from that moment that I feel that it all came from that moment of me knowing that anything is possible. Share with us your story.
Simon, I really talk about my childhood, and I was born a curse. I was born a curse because in my community, being born a twin, it was a bad omen. And my mom gave birth to 4 sets of twins who all died. So I'm the only one who survived in among the twins who were born. So my mom had to hide me from the outcry. I mean, from minute where they're saying this kid is a bad woman, and my mom was being told that you are cursed. So growing up as a kid, I was a curse, and my childhood was dogged with bullying, where people used to bully me in school, in class, my siblings, and even my friends. So in my childhood days, I don't remember much because I just remember pain. I don't have vivid memories because I was that kid who was a punching bag in school. I was that kid who was always being pointed by teachers. But hey, because I used to have, I always used to study ahead of the teacher because I wanted to learn, and I would ask questions which the teacher probably hadn't prepared, and that put me in trouble. And even in class, I used to be that people used to point out that hey, that's the choppy, as in the one who likes to chop. So in my 8 years, I'll just tell you, between my 8 and 12 years I just wished my dad was present. I had my brothers who I grew up with no brother figure because each of them were in boarding school, and my mom was in the village, so I was brought up by a nun. So you can imagine my father is a policeman who kept moving our country, serving the national duty. But as a young boy, I missed that father figure. My dad was present with presence, but he was never present with he was never present with his presence. So my childhood, Simon, it's something which through therapy I came to discover has been one of my my triggers. So for me, one of my happy moments is to have a superhero in my head who's, Simon, being an African boy, I couldn't afford games, I couldn't afford toys, so I had a game in my head of an African hero. And that African hero was my grandfather, who used to tell me stories of Nyamgondo, the Luo warrior. So in my head, I used to play games in my head. So that was my best moment where I could picture stuff. And Simon, it's very sad that as a child growing up with a condition which I didn't know, that's why I will talk later about my condition. And as a child, I'll just tell you, Simon, the only memories I have was just wishing to see my dad coming home. Just seeing my dad cook tumbo. Tumbo is interesting, so my dad used to like that meal a lot. That meal actually like right now. So the memories which I have as a kid was just days when my dad would be free. He would just come home and make a quick meal for us and just tell me stories like the way my grandfather would tell me, even if it's for 10 minutes before he goes back to work. That's my memory as probably as an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old.
Thank you so much, Philip, and I'm just so grateful for your vulnerability and for sharing with us, that, your childhood was one of the most challenging times in your life, and I'm so proud of you for what you've become, and how you've rediscovered yourself and the impact that you've had, on many people's lives. I want you to share with us, your journey as an activist and a digital humanitarian. Share with us a little more, the beginning of, I know that there's a time when you are doing really, really well for yourself, and then something drastic happened that taught you so much, and that's what led to you becoming the new Philip that I met recently. But speak to me just when you began doing the actual using media for activism and using media for good, and just being a first responder with the stories and the cases that you've been a part of in Kenya.
Simon, I don't even know where to start. This is a story I've never told, and this is a story which I think, to me, being a digital humanitarian is a calling. It's a purpose. It's something which it's in you, where you just have constant feeling of just where you want to help and you want to give back. Like I told you earlier, Simon, my childhood was dogged with a lot of trauma, and in my head, I had one hero who would save people, and that hero was my dad. Where my dad would come and tell me stories when he's free. Hey, how's your day today? Today we arrested robbers. Did you shoot them? I'm like, that is like, no, at times you don't shoot people, just need to teach them lessons. As in, at times you don't need to kill a robber, just need to talk to them. And that's the kind of father who he actually taught me. He was one of the cops in town, but he had a human heart. He would help people in a village. He would help. Like, I grew up seeing my relatives come to our house every day, and I never used to understand until I grew up. I actually get to understand. My dad helped a lot of his relatives just to, he had a kind heart. So growing up, he used to tell me that he has a human heart like that. And I'm like, what are they talking about? So fast forward, I've faced a lot of rigidity growing up. I faced a lot of rigidity in school, and Simon, I really had bullied. I really got bullied. And fast forward, back in the early 2009, I don't want to talk about my life because it's a journey which I've never spoken about. I'm hearing my son's coming, so you expect a door banging. He's just coming from school, and one of the new ways of working is now we're invading in our children's play area. Hey, Diallo, I'm live, so keep quiet, right? Tell your friends to keep quiet. Close the door, not talking, I'm live. Sorry, guys, I'm actually invading into my son's space.
No problem.
We have to work from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Simon, I have a condition called ADHD. So it gives me a brain where I think it's deep. So I didn't know I had it from childhood, where in schools I had this brain where we used to work in, even in class I used to think differently, and it put me in trouble a lot of times. So in my primary school, I was among the top 3 students. And I was one of the most, doing well in like all subjects. But coming to my high school, the bullying is really intense, and I became, just hold on. Becca, just turn down the noise.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. This is Simon speaking. I'm here with Philip Ogola, my brother, who is my guest, and is on stage as digital humanitarian. He's just receiving his kids who just arrived home, and he's going to continue sharing his powerful story with us. Every day I try to have really one of you listeners and viewers of the Daily African Proverbs, and all of you who are on Clubhouse right now. Quite a few of you have been guests on this show in the last few weeks, and I would love to have more of you. I want to listen to your stories, and also, together share the meaning of these African proverbs with our community and with the world. So that's why we are here. We are just going a little deeper. For the first 30 minutes, I just want us to learn a little more about some of our community members and bring in some special guests as well. Yesterday we hosted Go. What was her name? Go. Hold on, I have to find it here. She was such a powerful spiritual leader from South Africa that we hosted here yesterday, and she's joining us again next week. Go Rutendo Ngara. I don't want to butcher names of leaders like that. So and Gogo is a term for a spiritual leader, a traditional spiritual leader, especially from South Africa. So she's joining us again next Thursday, and I'm hoping to host her every Thursday. Next Thursday we are most likely going to host her in the club that was co-founded by Kat, the Hungry Medium, who is in the followed by speakers section, because we want to take the Daily African Proverbs to other spaces, other clubs, and continue, taking African wisdom to other spaces as well. So I want to give Philip a chance to continue sharing with us his story. Thank you so much for joining us. And by the way, for the next 10 minutes, hand raising is going to be kept on, so feel free to join us on stage, and then you'll have an opportunity to share your interpretation of the proverb, or give Philip any comments or just words of encouragement. If you're watching on YouTube, please share with us your comment with what today's proverb means to you. And the proverb says, to get lost is to learn a new way. Philip, the microphone is yours.
When you have kids in the house, you have to be prepared for random disruptions. So Simon, this condition of mine, ADHD, just to recap on where I left, is a condition which made me use humanitarian work as a coping mechanism. So you find that my brain works in 3D, where I think of solutions. I think of when I look at a crisis, I think solutions. When I look at a humanitarian, let's say like a flood, my brain thinks of how do I help. So I actually got into Red Cross through a very funny way, Simon. I joined one of the leading PR agencies in Kenya, and I told that lady, hey, I can help you do digital PR. And she was like, Philip, do you have any qualification? I'm like, no, I only have my passion and my guts. And she gave me the job. So after working for her for 6 months, saw the way I had the passion, the creativity, the visions. She actually introduced me to Red Cross. Like, hey, there's an opportunity there. Why don't you apply? So I applied for the job, and that's how I got into the humanitarian space. And remember, I had no prior training on humanitarian reporting. I had no prior training on digital. So at Red Cross, I was given a chance to actually be part of the interview panel. So I joined the interview panel, and on the day of the interview, there was a big, major fire in one of the biggest slums in Nairobi. And I was told, hey, Philip, that's your interview. So Simon, I've never seen bodies. I've never seen people die, apart from my father, who died in my hands. So I went to the scene, and I saw, bodies, all over. And I was like, this is work. And I enjoyed it. And I did it perfectly well. Day one, Red Cross had over 10,000 numbers from 1,000. And then I was given an assignment. I was told, hey, how about you come up with a strategy for how to communicate better in emergency response. And I was given a target, and I cracked it. And that's how I got my job. So fast forward, Red Cross taught me to become who I am. Red Cross made me to understand the disaster cycles. I've been to refugee crises. I've been to hungers. Those famine-stricken areas, tribal clashes, fires, accidents, terrorist attacks, bomb attacks. Simon, the way people talk about going into hotels, that, hey, I'm going to have a drink in this hotel, or I'm going to have food in this hotel. I knew mosques. I knew hospitals. That was the life I actually got into. So after the West Gate attack, which was one of my hardest assignments, I had to exit Red Cross because the trauma was too much. The PTSD attacks were too much. So remember, I didn't know I had the condition. So after Red Cross, that's now when I discovered that people still reach out to me and tell me, hey, digital, I think you did well in the humanitarian space. And that's how I actually came up with the word digital humanitarian, because the role of digital I actually saw the power of digital through the Red Cross, where we could mobilize we do crowdfunding, do donations, engage people during crisis, issue safe alerts. And it became a medium and Red Cross won so many awards because of that. So that's how I became a digital humanitarian. And unfortunately, I did that. I had this condition, a condition which made me keep doing it. And the more I did it, it became my coping mechanism. I got stuck in it. So Simon, I'm stuck in this loop where I'm constantly doing it. So that's how I became a digital humanitarian. I've got for about 12 UN organizations in Africa, about 100 organizations across Africa and even in Kenya. I won a global UN Foundation social goods change maker. I won a presidential award just for telling the COVID stories. I managed nearly all the government ministries in Kenya and the East African region. So being a digital humanitarian is a calling. It's something which pushes you to actually be good and be a change maker in the society.
Yeah, thank you so much, Philip. I'm grateful for all the work that you've done to save other people's lives and to just meet people at a time when they are most vulnerable. So thank you for that. Now, share with me how you can use Clubhouse and other social audio platforms like Twitter Spaces to do similar work, and how you've primarily built a community around Spaces for Good on Twitter. You're big on that. I just want you to speak to social audio in general and how you can be a digital humanitarian through these platforms, as well as specifically, Twitter Spaces, where you're leading the Spaces for Good initiative that seems to be growing. I can see the amount of work you're putting in, and I see that you already have people involved, even from Canada and across the world. So just speak to that for a moment.
Simon, social audio is the new currency. Audio is the new interface. And previously we used to meet a more textual format where I text with made a photo and that was it. But audio brings in that emotional hook. And I'll probably advise like the new content creators, let's tap on audio social spectrum and just connect people emotionally. Because Simon, when you hear someone speak without meeting them, you don't see them on video. Because COVID left us with a very Zoom fatigue, where there's a webinar fatigue, where there's so much video. People just wanted a space where they can talk while cooking, talk while they're at home, and it's the new currency. So social audio, I think it's something which is actually it's a game changer. And when you look at Twitter Spaces, for me, Twitter Spaces has built my career, and as a digital humanitarian, it has taken it to a global level, where I have met with global experts who I'll never meet in my life. I've had front row access with Twitter people, with Twitter top executives. I've had front row access with global CEOs of these tech apps. I've had like beta testing of all these apps, where I'm being selected as an African to actually test some of these apps and give solutions. So for me, audio social is actually a good tool for especially Africans. And Simon, I actually saw this during the Africa Day, where we brought in a Pan-African conversation, Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora, who came in for 24 hours and actually chimed in on different subjects, and in between there was storytelling, there was poetry, there was what. Simon, I'll tell you one thing. COVID has left a trail of trauma. Everybody actually has one form of ban, stigma, But now people just need some easing moment where they can laugh, they can tap into music, and that's how the new also the social platform, the Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces are actually doing. And when you look at Twitter Spaces right now, Simon, the next revolution in Africa is actually going to be audio. The days of the protests are done. The next revolution in Africa is actually going to be audio. Because if you notice right now, Clubhouse Africans are talking together. On Twitter Spaces now, there's a Pan-African conversation, and even now there's a global hook where people from America join in, from Canada join in. And right now, as digital humanitarian, I'm moving away from the front line where I'm too traumatic. I want to focus on more art humanity. So we are creating spaces for good, and through Twitter Spaces, Simon, I've actually managed to get like partners, advisors from Canada, from UK, from Australia, from the US, and even from Africa. And this is something which I've never have achieved in life. So we are looking at creating spaces for good where people will come and learn about disasters in a more soft way, in a more human way, in a more storytelling way. Because when you look at the kind of trauma people have right now, people just want to heal. People just want to, we want to create spaces where people can focus from trauma to triumph, kind of. So Spaces for Good is actually going to be vibrant in all social media platforms. And I'm just, you heard it from me, I'm moving away from the front line and now become the real digital humanitarian online, where it will not be about me, but about people online who actually will come together and just Spaces for Good. Simon?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Philip, for being here with us. It's exactly 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's 4:30 p.m. in Kenya, where Philip is. And Philip, just stay put. We are going to hear from our amazing friends on stage. We have our brother Joseph, and Dr. Wanda, and Nene, and Anne-Marie, and Zizi, who are going to share with us, just a few comments in regards to the proverb, and also any comments to Philip. And then Philip, you're going to share with us your closing remarks after that, and also how people can stay connected with you. So I'll pass the microphone to Joseph Kafunda, who is a travel and tourist guide in Southern Africa. And his primary aim is to obtain an entry-level position that will allow him to complement his theoretical exposure with practical experience, capturing African untold stories. Joseph Kafunda, I've said many times that this is in alignment with a lot of the work I do with One Vibe Africa, and also One Vibe Films in Kenya. So we should connect about this. But share any thoughts you have for our guest today, Philip Ogola, and also share with us what your thoughts are in regards to the proverb. The proverb says, to get lost is to learn a new way. And also to those who are just joining us for the first time here in the Daily African Proverbs, we've been hosting the Daily African Proverbs since January, daily. I've only missed it when I was in Kenya for a few weeks, and also when we had Madaraka Festival that completely drained us in terms of energy. But this is a sacred space that we've been building and cultivating, because African proverbs are things that our parents used. My mother and her parents, they used African proverbs to help us grow and thrive. And yesterday, when we had Gogo Rutendo Ngara here as a guest, I learned that even the mountains and the rivers are our ancestors. I learned so much. Yesterday, I was exposed to the intersection of science and African spirituality. I was really, really inspired, and I can't wait to host again next Thursday. But I want to invite you all to come on stage. In 2 minutes, I'll be turning off hand raising. That is if you're on Clubhouse. If you are on YouTube, I want to encourage you to share your comments, like the Liz is dropping a number of comments here that we will read in order for Philip to also respond to. But now I want to pass it to Joseph Kafunda. Thank you so much. This is Simon speaking. I think Joseph might be away from his phone. So I will go ahead and invite Dr. Wanda, who has also been an amazing contributor to the Daily African Proverbs. She's a web designer, beauty guru, and a scientist, also a Christian and a fashion designer. Dr. Wanda, please grab the microphone and share with us any comments to Philip Ogola and your thoughts about today's proverb. To get lost is to learn a new way. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to come to the stage. I love this proverb. I feel like this proverb tells the story of my life. Just even as you read my bio, because people are always asking me, okay, how do you go from being a biochemist to being a beauty guru, to being a publisher, to being an author, and it truly is a series of constantly losing and finding myself. Constantly losing and finding myself. Things happen, like we just talked about the pandemic. The pandemic changed things, changed the way we did work. And for me, it was the Great Recession about 10 years ago, changed the way I did science. I was doing science in a traditional way at a traditional company in a traditional laboratory. But then the Great Recession happened and jobs became scarce, competition became fierce, but I still had to live, I still had to eat, I still had to survive. So I turned to my other talents. But in a sense, I was lost and that I was not in the traditional go to work every day. And then it was actually a good friend of mine, an immigrant from Senegal, was like, you don't need a job, you make the job. And that was how I began to find a new way. And it's now how I live. I continuously make the job or create. And I'm still doing science, but not necessarily in a traditional lab. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I love that. I love that a lot, because that's also the life I live. And I feel like earlier on I shared the story of when I was 8 to 12, when I was distributing milk and bread in my community in Manyata in Kisumu, Kenya, because it was a situation where my mom exposed me, and not only me, a number of people, including my siblings, kids from the neighborhood, were all like business people. We were little kids, and if you went to events in the city, you'd find kids from our neighborhood are the ones who had something in their pocket, like money in their pocket, because we all worked for my mom. and now I have the skills to survive and to create the job and to create jobs for others, both in Kenya and here, and sometime in multiple countries. Whenever I have projects that need people in various locations in the world, and I just feel that it's so important to know that we all have the ability to create jobs for ourselves and for others. We all have the ability to grow food for ourselves and others. And we all have the ability to nourish our souls and other people's souls. But we all have to be willing to get lost, because that's the only way to learn a new way. So thank you. Nene, share with us your thoughts about today's proverb and any comments to our brother Philip. Thank you so much.
Hi, Simon. Thank you. Hi, everyone, both in the speaker section and in the lounge. Happy Friday? It's the end of a week, and I'm hoping everybody's off to a great weekend. I wanted to say one quick thing to Philip. Philip, when you were speaking, I do apologize. I was going in and out because I was dropping my son off at school, and so I could resonate with you when you were talking about children. You can't really concentrate that like the way that you want to. There are unexpected interferences or interruptions. Loving ones though, but sometimes they break your train of thought. But while I was listening, there were a few things that you said that I really resonated with you, and I just felt to offer you like my heart of support as a fellow humanitarian. I learned a while ago that indeed the Lord will never give us a burden that we cannot bear. I believe that we're all called to be kind, to mankind, but I believe that there are some people who the Lord has placed an even bigger burden on. And when I say an even bigger burden on, when you lay down at night, you can't sleep because you know that there are people out there who have not eaten, or there are people out there who are hurting, and you may be the solution, or you may provide a solution to their healing. So I definitely want to offer you, the words of comfort, and let you know that, no matter what burdens, you have borne and that you continue to bear as a humanitarian, I want you to know that you have the grace and you have the strength within you, because you were called to do what you were called to do. You have been equipped with that grace and that strength and the resilience to do it. I have faith in you, and I want to applaud you and say thank you for all the work that you have done towards mankind. May the heavens honor and celebrate you. And I will go on to give my own interpretation, my humble interpretation. And I had never heard this proverb before until today. But while I was thinking of what Philip was saying, it brought to mind something. And the proverb is to get lost is to learn a new way, right? I learned, I guess it just dawned on me today. It was like that aha moment, that light moment, that sometimes when we feel like we know in our minds as human beings, we normally are narrow minded in certain things. So, for example, for those who drive to work, they probably use one route. They've been using this route forever because it's short, it's quick, they stop at the local bakery and they can grab whatever they want to grab. They don't take the time to learn other routes until there's a detour on their route. And then they realize, oh crap, I can't use this road today. I'm going to have to find another way to get to work. And so sometimes life will, unfortunately, or shall I say in our cases, fortunately, push us, create a detour on the well walked route so that we're able to get lost. And, in getting lost, we're able to find another way, maybe even a better way. And maybe that newer way is where opportunities abound for us. And so to me, that is what I saw in that, or what I'm seeing in that proverb, that sometimes it is a blessing to get lost, because in getting lost, we do find a newer way and a way of, betterment opportunities and, just a bigger community. And so with that said, I don't know if any of that resonates with anyone. I appreciate the opportunity to share the stage with you, Simon. I will yield my mic. Thank you and God bless.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful, Nene. for your words of wisdom and also your words of encouragement to Philip. It's always really, really inspiring to hear you speak. So thank you again. Anne-Marie, we would love to hear from you. Share with us what your interpretation of today's proverb is. And if you're meeting Anne-Marie for the first time, she's a vegan nutritionist, lifestyle coach, tantra practitioner, and oh wow, you've gone through a lot, and I just appreciate all the work that you do. And I want you to share with us your interpretation of today's proverb. It says, "To get lost is to learn a new way." Thank you so much.
Wonderful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Love and Peace family. I am Anne-Marie Vilea. I am primarily a psychedelic integration mentor based in North Carolina in the US. And I'm also a lifestyle coach. And for me, what the proverb resonates with is that if you are lost, you're being kissed and blessed by your ancestors, because your ancestors are teaching you to open up that conversation, that intimate conversation with yourself, to be able to assess a change or a shift in your world, a shift from maybe a place that was comfortable to a place that's new. And your ancestors are blessing you with that new conversation, that newness, that new language. And that language is going to deepen your understanding to yourself. And by being able to be in that awareness of a shift in your world, you're developing a self-love ritual that is for the betterment of you and therefore all of our brothers and sisters across the globe. So if you are in a place of being lost, you're being gifted a new opportunity to develop something new about yourself and to get to know yourself even more. And as one gets to know themselves even more, they're going to become more intelligent, happier, more skilled, and more comfortable. Although through challenges, they can be very uncomfortable. Being gifted experience of challenge, if the person is able to get to this space, eventually will reach a space of more comfort, because they will have gone through something very catastrophic or traumatic that will teach them compassion or forgiveness or understanding, or the ability to learn a new perspective or a new skill set or a new way of communicating or a new way of eating, in order to bring them back to a space of comfort. And typically comfort, at least in my life experience, tends to come from laughter or health and nutrition and being around friends and family. And when one feels lost, they feel disconnected from community, or they feel disconnected from their tribe, and they feel disconnected from themselves. So if one is feeling lost, I genuinely believe it's because your ancestors are looking out for you, that they're guiding you away from something that's not for your own good, but towards something that is for your own good and therefore the betterment of all of humanity, for all of our brothers and sisters across the globe. I really have enjoyed the few times that I've been able to tap into this room. So thank you so much, Simon, for allowing me to speak. It's been an honor. I'm complete for now.
You're most welcome. It's beautiful, everything you had to say, and it's amazing how you brought our ancestors into this proverb, because we always share these proverbs to make our ancestors proud and to make them smile. Because if my mother was to wake up today and find me in a space where we are discussing African proverbs, she would literally laugh, and find it so funny, because there are things that your parents do that they don't expect you to learn from them. They just do it because that's who they are, but they don't know that that's something that is equally important to you. And I feel like that's what proverbs mean to me. But just seeing how Anne-Marie shared with us that your ancestors are with you the most when you are lost, and they're just guiding you towards a new possibility. So that was amazing. And now I want to introduce Zizi. These two powerful women that are just about to speak, they're amazing humans, and they're a few of the people that have encouraged me to continue doing these daily African proverbs. part of the reasons why I was off for almost a month, you know, when I was in Kenya, I was off for 3 weeks. Then when I came back, I took a 1 week break, and it felt good. I was almost taking a second week break from the Daily African Proverbs. But, Jay reached out, and she had interacted with Zizi, and they were like, where's Simon? So it was just, really, really powerful to hear from you both during that time. So Zizi, share with us how you're doing. Share with us what your interpretation of this proverb is, and any thoughts to Philip. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here and having this platform, which we missed for a while. And I think the proverb, as you say, our ancestors always lead us to things we don't even think about. So when we get lost, we find a better way, actually, not just another way. Like it's something that, you don't think about except when it happens. Like when you get used to doing something the same way, it's not really interesting. Like we have, like, for instance, in our village, we have donkeys that know exactly where to take you and bring you back. You get on the donkey and you go from the village to wherever you want to go, and then they know exactly. You don't need to know the road. So I think it's important that we use our minds and creative abilities, and that's what our ancestors want to do. They don't want us to become robots. They want us to look for new ways of doing things more creatively. And that's why sometimes we get lost, but really it's not lost. It's just finding better ways. So I'm so glad that you've come back and you've done all the things that you've done, and you accomplished a lot. And congratulations to everybody who listens to the ancestors and their ways. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you so much, Simon. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much, Zizi. Yeah, it's always a pleasure, hearing your voice, and your words of wisdom are really, really powerful. I love how you shared with us that when you are lost, you get a better way, not another way, a better way. And that's a really important reminder there. Hey, Jay, I would love to pass you the mic so that you can also share with us, your thoughts about yesterday's conversation with Gogo. I saw an amazing tweet that you shared that brought even a second wave of conversation around the conversation we had with Gogo yesterday. And also share with me your thoughts about today's conversation with Philip, and also the proverb. And if you're meeting Jay for the first time, she's in Seattle like myself. And she says here that the world is thirsty for kindness and happiness, integrity, truthfulness, and love. Be a rejuvenating and refreshing cold glass of compassion. Thank you so much, Jay. The mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Brother Simon. And you put a lot on my plate. And because I came on the tail end of Philip, I think, and also with Gogo, I think I'll leave that part of the meal alone that you served me. But I will say this much about Gogo. I was just amazed. The little bit that I heard, there's just she had so much meat and information and advice and guidance and a wealth of wisdom. It was mind-boggling. She was mind-boggling. And it just kind of depends on what you're looking for in life, what's important to you, what's helpful, what's beneficial. But if you're looking for anything that's going to fulfill you emotionally and spiritually, hearing Go is definitely going to meet some of that need without a doubt. Regarding this proverb, and I want to hear her again, I truly do, and I want to know if she wrote a book. Regarding this proverb, it reminded me of situations literally when I was going to get stuck in traffic. And I knew enough about direction that if I left that area, that I understood direction enough that I could figure out how to get around and navigate to get to where I needed to go and not be in traffic. And, I had my son with me one day in the car, and he said, how did you know? And I said, well, I thought through it. I didn't panic. I don't like traffic. I don't want to sit in it. I don't want to be in it. So I had to find a different way. And so I thought through my circumstances. And I knew I could, if I was willing to take the chance, get off that road and find a different way where I wouldn't be stuck in a situation that wasn't the best circumstances for me. And so when it comes to being literally lost, you have to be willing to take a chance that you can find another route, find another way. But that's where you're patient with yourself. You're willing to take the time and you don't panic. You don't panic as you're finding a different way. So that to me is so important, not panicking, because it allows you to center yourself and to be able to think in a more clear and defined way, that you have alternatives, that there are options. There are different, and as Zizi said, there's sometimes even better ways, and ways that are going to help you get through a difficult situation, and things that are going to get you through a literal situation as it pertains to maybe traffic, or just being lost in an area you're unfamiliar with, being lost in the woods. Don't panic. Center yourself and think, I have options, and look for those options. This is Jay, and I'm finished speaking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay, for sharing with us. How when you think and plan and realize that you have options, you can get to places you want to go to in a more efficient and less stressful ways. And also, I just thank you for your words of wisdom. Now I want to again thank you all for joining us for the Daily African Proverbs. We do this every day, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. East African Time. And I do my best to host amazing guests here as often as possible. And today our special guest is Philip Ogola, who is a digital humanitarian and a presidential awardee from Kenya. He's in Nairobi as we speak. Yesterday we hosted Gogo Rutendo Ngara from South Africa, who is also joining us here next Thursday. And tomorrow we are going to host Noga Salomon, who is she's the co-founder of New Africa Society. She'll be sharing with us again her story, her thoughts about the proverb that we will have tomorrow, and also she will share with us some of the exciting things that she's doing with New Africa Society. I would love some of you in the audience to also DM me if you want me to host you as a guest. Just send me a DM here or on Twitter. Yeah, either here on Clubhouse in the back channel or on Twitter. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave us your comment with your interpretation of today's proverb. The proverb today is, to get lost is to learn a new way. Every day when we come into this space, we share African proverbs with the hopes of, making our ancestors proud, and also with the hopes of leaving this room just with a little more African wisdom that we can use to face our day. So now Philip is going to share with us the closing comments and also how you can stay connected with him. Again, Philip has been our guest today, and tomorrow we are hosting Noga, and next week is going to really be amazing. I have planned some really amazing interviews and guests for next week. I don't know if I should share some of them now, but the Seattle department, there's a department in the city of Seattle that is dealing with food justice. And I'll be hosting two people who are leading a huge grant that they are distributing. So we'll be talking about African proverbs as well as how, if you're dealing with food justice or food equity related initiatives in Seattle, you can get funding. And then I'm most likely going to host the former Chief Justice of Kenya next week, either on Monday or on Friday. And on Thursday I'll be hosting Gogo Rutendo Ngara again. So this is becoming a really important space for a lot of African people globally. So I just encourage you to reach out if you know somebody else that we should host. And we're also looking for help with retweeting this conversation while it's happening and also promoting it before it happens. So reach out to me directly if you'd like to support, or reach out to Nkem, who just joined us, in the room. She's making a technical appearance like the celebrities do. She's a celebrity, And Nkem, just say something. No, you are. You have to be, you have to take this space sometime. So just say something, introduce yourself, and just say something real quick. But Nkem is amazing. Without her, the Daily African Proverbs would not be where it is. And Jay has also contributed to the growth of this space, and quite a number of other people who are not in this room in this moment. So, just know that, we deeply appreciate you all as well. Nkem, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Simon. I echo that most certainly. Hi, Digital Humanitarian, ZZJ, and some new faces. And I see some familiar faces in the room as well. But it's just good to be here and to tap in while I can. And interpretation of today's proverb, to get lost is to find a new way. Definitely resonate with that, because sometimes I can be so laser focused on a destination instead of enjoying the journey. And so sometimes when I just get lost and detach myself from the destination, I learn a new way to get to my destination that's more fun and creative and free and in alignment with myself. So I resonate with this a lot because it's my encouragement to just let go and enjoy life and smell the roses. This is Kim, and I'm done speaking. Thank you so much, Simon, for letting me add to the conversation.
Thank you, Nkem. This proverb also reminds me about your song. Like the moment I read it, I was thinking about your song, Find Your Way Back Home. You need to play that for us in the near future. Yeah, Nkem is a very talented musician as well. She plays the guitar, like ringing a bell, Now, Philip, there's a question that came from Delise on YouTube, and Delise is asking, so Philip is going to answer this and then close us out. She's curious about the platform that you're using the most, for your digital humanitarian work. And then she's saying, considering the challenges around fatigue that comes with creating for different platforms. So if you just want to answer that briefly and then close us out with your closing comments, Philip. Thank you so much.
That's a very good question, Simon. And I'll quickly just respond to it. My major platform has been Twitter. But I discovered that on digital spaces, you must look at all the digital spectrum. Like look at WhatsApp, look at Facebook, look at TikTok, look at Instagram, look at all these podcasts. Anything digital which people use to communicate with is the kind of now platform that you're looking at. And as digital humanitarian, right now we are working on a platform where people can actually become digital humanitarians and who will be willing to actually create spaces for good. And I think we should be launching like in a week or two. We are still working on the back end and also working on the website. And just to answer the question about fatigue, I do get fatigue. And I'm lucky to actually have a support base of people who actually support me because they believe in me, and I already have about 300 volunteers who actually supporting me in the back end, both from my country, both in Africa, and even in the global spectrum. So I've also got a couple of endorsements from some of these tech apps who are also supporting me. So even when I go public live, I'll not be doing some of this work because it will be delegated to a cohort which will be doing it frequently. And then in terms of content fatigue, I'm looking at training youths who will manage the digital humanitarian spectrum, and it will be AI led, where it will be less training to the team, and also we will heavily anchor on digital tools, as the digital material for the first time will be offline, where we'll actually offer the solutions online, where everybody gets, because I don't want anyone to go through what I went through, getting fatigue, getting triggers, getting PTSD attacks, and even getting emotionally bankrupt. So I don't say, Simon, that today's proverb is very vivid in my life, where you always feel lost. And each speaker have actually spoken how our ancestors actually knew, and our ancestors spoke to us, and they were futuristic. When you look at Facebook starting metaverse, our ancestors were the metaverse of Africa, where they saw the future, and the real where, I mean, future, where they guide us on how we can actually, even if you get lost, you can always find someone who will hold your hand. And getting lost is actually learning. So I want to tell you, Simon, thank you for the daily African proverbs. When I come to the daily African proverbs, you always make me think my grandfather, my father, me as a father, and then I look at my sons. Then I plug in the digital hook, and we find that those proverbs actually are very vivid in any platform. Like at times on social media, you may feel lost. Like, should I go to YouTube? Should I go to Facebook? Pick a platform which you're actually good at, but also try and also understand other platforms, because you never know where to get connections. Like Simon, I met you through Clubhouse, and through you we've done Pan-African global campaigns. We did the Africa Day, and that shows how we as content creators, we should not be comfortable and just get lost in one platform. Also think of how learning and understanding these platforms where we can train, especially our children, to actually know some of these platforms. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you very much, Philip. I hear your kids running behind you, and I just want you to know that I'm grateful for the time that you created for this conversation. I'm also grateful for the time you've created to help with retweeting the Daily African Proverbs and just helping us grow the presence of the Daily African Proverbs on Twitter. And also thank you really, Nkem, for everything, and Jay, Dr. Wanda, Anne-Marie, and Nene, and everyone who joined us on Clubhouse, and also everyone who is with us live on YouTube. Thank you so much, Delise, and everyone else who is watching this on YouTube. Please make sure you leave us with your comment. Today's proverb is, to get lost is to learn a new way. If you're on Clubhouse, please make sure you're following the African Father in America Club, so that when we have these beautiful conversations, you are notified. I'm grateful, and we're going to wrap it up here for today. Thanks a lot.
African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to Africa.